The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
After being gone for 15 morning shows, 14 episodes of The Game, regional and state softball and baseball, state track and field.
The Big 12 tournament.
Big 12 tournament. Almost missed a regional. Troy Coverdale's back here at News Radio came in after 3 weeks.
And I couldn't even time it right so that the Royals were in town while I was in Tampa, St. Pete.
Yeah, you left the day like they were arriving or something,
yeah,
right?
we drove by Tropicana Field every day from the condo to the doctor's office and back. Literally every day. That was one of the turns we had to make. And every time I go past, I'm like, yeah, okay, can I slip in and catch a game? Timing didn't allow for us to do that. But then the Royals are in town when we leave. So that was just, oh, well, it is what it is.
Yes, when the Royals had won 7 or 8 in a row and they swept them, right?
No, they took two of three. Took 2 of 3. Lost on Sunday afternoon.
And they lost yesterday. They kind of stink now.
So first time since early May that they have dropped back-to-back games. And they still nearly pulled yesterday off. But thank you again. I stated it this morning as I got started, but I stated again, thank you. Thanks, Stephen Schaefer, for filling in for me on the morning show. It was dramatically helpful to be able to put everything aside and take advantage of this opportunity. For those who don't know, my wife underwent a jaw surgery that has been highly successful thus far.
Good.
Things are good. She's staying at my mother-in-law's this week. So,
and where's that?
In Seneca.
Okay.
So I'm not having to babysit during the times that I'm away from here, and she gets attention if something does come up. But she's starting to back down from the pain medication, and yeah, everything went very well. We met a lot of great people and had a little bit of fun while we were there. Very little fun, though, because we wound up with almost every day that we were down there, save for the Saturday, Sundays, we had appointments in the mornings.
Wow.
And so, yeah, they were exceptionally diligent in making sure that you're following all of the protocols. You're in for a checkup literally the morning after you've had surgery. We left the hospital after an overnight stay and go right to the doctor's office. It was pretty intensive in that aspect.
And I know this whole trip was for your wife to get her the surgery that she needed. I looked at it this way as well. As you've been in radio, you've been in broadcasting for such a long time, and in this business, I guess depending on your role, depending on your market, but I'm pretty sure for a lot of your career, it's been go, 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 go.
Yes.
And you got 3 weeks off that you probably deserved 20 years ago.
I would not disagree with you on that. If it had been not so much of a schedule of dealing with the doctor's appointments, yes.
Like in this business, you got to hit that reset button once in a while.
Occasionally, yes. I did get some reading done, which was fun. Actually plowed through 3 books. I was pleased to get through that much reading over the course of the afternoons.
Well, and I want to be 100% with you real quick.
So,
and we've had things change a little bit while you're here. Owen is getting ready to move down.
Yes.
Move down to Dallas, Texas.
What in the hell is that about?
He's going to start working with sports memorabilia. It sounds like a pretty cool. I don't know if he did get into it a little bit on his last show. I gave him just a segment to talk about himself, and we did an exit interview. That may be a new segment when people leave.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun, but he left now. So it's us 3 with AJ. Welcome to the show, by the way. Mitch Fortner, Troy Coverdale, and AJ Shaw, who's going to become an everyday guy now here on the show for the most part, and I'm very happy about that. But to be 100 with you, I completely understood the situation. I pretty much pulled double duty for 3 weeks. Morning show, either, just getting everything put together for that to hosting.
Yep.
And, of course, doing the show.
Yep.
Either on location or with AJ or with Owen a little bit in that first week. Those are the longest 3 weeks of my life.
Hi, welcome to my everyday.
I was counting the days when you got back. It's like when you don't realize how much that person does, and I'm sure it'd be vice versa as well. You just take it for granted the work they put in, so it makes your job a little easier.
Yeah.
But I was counting the hours. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I worked that many hours that week. It was crazy. But I was so happy just to get to Wichita and just do some track and field coverage. Just like I can get out of the station for a while. I can kind of do my thing.
Oh, yeah.
Lindsay's kids were both competing at state track. That was really cool to watch.
Okay.
So I was so ready to get out here for a little bit. In a little, get it. I got a 2-day weekend because I worked Saturday all day, but that's a long 2 days. 2 days.
Let me deal you just this one little tidbit of news so that you're aware of it. I will have to deal with one-offs coming up in August and November. The 3-month checkup and the 6-month checkup will be flights down and back.
Oh, how long is that?
They're just for the 1-day stop. 1-day stop down there for a visit to the doctor.
Like same day round trip?
No, we'll do it 3 days in terms of overall. In flying down, appointments will eat up the day that we're down there, and then we'll come back the next day.
Got to make sure and check that the old, chomper is working okay, and
exactly
make sure surgery, the welding is holding up, and
this, and it's not even welding. It is literally a fat graft surgery.
Oh. And I just pretended to know what that means, but I kind of do.
Took fat cells from Monica's abdomen and implanted them into the jaw joints. This doctor is one of only 2 that do this nationally.
As you just explained that, I understand why there's just a couple that do that nationally. It's super unique. It seems very different.
And it is something that, for the most part, vast majority of people, and this was a big part of even the discussions with others that have been through it or were going through it at the same time that we were there. Insurance isn't covering it. It's jaw. And nobody likes to deal with covering things that come up with the jaw in terms of health insurance. So, yeah. The most interesting one to me out of the batch of them that we met, 20-year-old student at University of Iowa, was there with her mom, had the same surgery.
Really?
Had to change her major in college from what she intended because her jaw had deteriorated so much, that joint had deteriorated so much, she could not sing without it being a problem. That's how impactful this surgery can be. But again, he's only one of 2 that do this. But everybody that we have talked to has had a great level of success with this, and so we continue to move forward with plenty of excitement that this is going to work. But for the most part, Monica commented the other day at breakfast that for once she doesn't feel like she's all jammed up on the left side. Now it's just a matter of getting past the swelling from the surgery, that basically you've got about a 3-week stretch here where it's just the effects of the surgery alone before you can really judge how you're feeling.
I have another takeaway from your time away as I see you now for the first time in 3 weeks. I can't tell if you got a little color or if you didn't get any at all. I don't remember how tan you were.
I got some.
Did you get a little burn? I got burnt.
Well,
state track.
We did have a couple of beach days. One of them was a cloudy day, but the main one that we had on St. Pete Beach was a very sunny day.
How are the beaches on a beach that technically isn't on an ocean? It's in the Gulf of Mexico.
Surprising, a lot of white sand. I was very surprised that it was so white, to be honest, on that beach. I expected more out of Hawaii, of course, but in general, it was a great spot to go looking for shells. Monica and her sister came back with literally an Amazon box about like that, and a smaller box full of shells that they had located.
Do you guys need any more shells? We got a baggie full of them from our Cabo giveaway. If you know anybody that needs any shells.
I saw those this morning, and I'm like, wait a minute. No. I was teasing my brother-in-law about the fact that the shells made the way to his house when we dropped my sister-in-law off.
Now, I did mention that Hulk Hogan has a bar down there in St. Pete. I believe it's pretty close to being on the water. He does karaoke on Mondays.
We did not go to any of those environs. There was one place that we did visit that was nearby where we were signed up to do a boat tour to go dolphin watching the one afternoon, but thunderstorms were in the area, so we didn't get to do that in the afternoon. I do have a T-shirt from that one. AJ saw the photo. The place is appropriately called Chubby's on the Beach.
Chubby's, yeah. And
so that was nice. And the joke is that it's about saving the chubby mermaids.
So is that the only? Oh gosh, what the?
Only souvenir?
Souvenir. I was trying to think of the word. I couldn't think. Yeah, is that the only thing you got?
That's the only souvenir I did get.
Okay.
Yes. Besides the little bit of tan I did come away with.
I'm not a big fan of getting people souvenirs from trips. You're like, well, you weren't there. Like
you know me. You know me in T-shirts. I mean, honestly, I was not going to pass up a good T-shirt.
I mean, half your closet is the novelty section from Target.
Please, I do better than that. Thank you.
Sometimes they're from Etsy. You know, the designs are a little off. You know,
now.
A little crooked.
You know
I've
better.
done that a few times, and the designs were like it was like sideways. Yeah. Like I wasted $10.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel that way sometimes, even ordering from Fanatics.
You know, I did get a Dak Prescott shirt one time that was like really messed up. I'm like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah. And then you turn around and Major League Baseball gives them the uniform contract. Disaster.
I will say this, though. There was a lot of crazy stuff that went down in the sports world yesterday. And I texted Mitch because Mitch and I were talking about robot umps last week on the show.
Yes.
Not a fan.
And we were talking about Angel Hernandez, and then, of course, the news comes down that Angel Hernandez is retiring today.
So is that official?
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Oh, well.
Yeah, he was actually a part of the statement that Major League Baseball issued this morning on his behalf.
One of my favorite things about Major League Baseball these days is the umpires,
yelling about
how much they suck, and man, it makes. I'll tell you what, it makes baseball pretty interesting.
Here's an idea for all of you kids looking to get to kind of determine how to grab life by the horns and as you move forward. Just realize that you can accomplish anything in life because Angel Hernandez was an umpire in Major League Baseball for 31 years.
Oh, my God.
Was he always that bad?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And you knew it was bad when the players were openly saying at the end of playoff games that he can't be umpiring a playoff game. And then when Major League Baseball comes out and says, yeah, we don't give him World Series games because he sucks at his job.
He sues.
Yeah.
He sued, calling him racist.
Mm-hmm.
I have no comment.
It didn't go very far.
You know, it's
Yes.
So
let's pour one out for a legend. You know, we're losing
a legend. Oh my Lord!
I don't want to say we're losing one of the good ones. We're just losing one of the ones.
We're losing one. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the better way of looking at it. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll see later on in this show because we didn't have a show yesterday. We're going to see how bad Troy Coverdale is in sports trivia compared to AJ Shaw, somebody who is 28 years younger than Troy. We'll play Stump the Shaw in hour number 2. Jabroni of the Week in this hour number 1. When we come back, let's get to the big K-State news of the weekend. The Cats are in. Cats in the Regional. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Some details are next. We're back on the game. First show of the week. Mitch Fortner, Troy Coverdale, and AJ Shaw. Have you guys ever had a surgery before? I know Troy has, obviously, but AJ, have you ever had a surgery?
Wisdom teeth removal.
Only real one that I've had for anything was having an abscess drained when I was a student here in town. I've not had any major surgeries, no.
thought you had one in the old ticker or something.
No, that wasn't a surgery. That was just a case of getting the heart to repair itself.
Gotcha.
There was no reason for them to go in.
AJ, was your wisdom teeth removal, was that done by the dentist, or did you have to go to an orthopedic surgeon?
I had to go to an orthopedic surgeon.
So they put you under and everything?
They knocked me out, and I woke up, and from what I remember, or at least from what my mom told me, I was shaking everybody's hands. I just was going up giving everybody a handshake. I'm like, yeah, thanks so much. I was loopy, and I walked out. I mean, I was probably it was like I was half drunk.
I was at my mother-in-law's yesterday for lunch, and we were talking about how what any of our memories are of going under when you have anesthesia. And we were having a good laugh over just various stories from the family because, it ranges in so many different ways.
I've never had one.
Really?
Never gone under. Nope. Nothing.
You never had your wisdom teeth taken out?
So I have all 4. They're there.
So you're going to have to get them out soon.
There's no pain. There's nothing. When I go to the dentist, they're like, so you ready to get those out? It's like, well, I got to work with my schedule, because I talk for a living.
Yeah.
And I just have the worst time just trying to get away from work and taking some time off. And when I take time off, I don't want to have to go to a dentist.
I will say this about the wisdom teeth removal. The first week was hell, man. And then after a while, literally, I would try talking and I just sound like this. I sound like I'm stuttering, like I have a lisp. And then after a while, my tongue got all infected and the side of my mouth got all infected. So I had to go in and get that drained, and it just was not a fun experience. But hey, I got no problems. The wisdom teeth never really bothered me when they were in there. My mom was just like, you need to get them out. So I'm like, all right.
That was a great fake lisp. You should talk like that the rest of the show.
Maybe not.
Well, we have quite an interesting weekend coming up because after a few Friday, I wasn't 100% sure anymore. And, coming up at 5:10, we're going to hear from Coach Hughes. He had a few things to say earlier today about getting into the tournament, the field, getting ready to play Louisiana Tech. That's the first game for the Cats. The breaking news yesterday, we learned at 11:30 yesterday that K-State will be heading to the Fayetteville Regional, their first in 11 years. The last time K-State was in a regional, they hosted after winning the Big 12 championship in 2013, and Arkansas was a part of that regional, which K-State did beat the Razorbacks in that final game, 4-3. K-State was the road team on the scoreboard, for those that may remember that. I didn't get to go to any of those games. For that K-State regional, that also had Bryant and Wichita State, but K-State swept the field, and now K-State will face another double elimination regional for the first time in 11 years. But going back to how I felt on Friday, so K-State's eliminated from the field. They played 3 games, double elimination, and they go 1-2. I would have been concrete 100% if K-State won 2 games in Arlington, but they didn't. It also didn't help that K-State didn't sweep BYU, a pretty bad team when you look at the RPI. Pretty rough team that K-State should have swept, and they almost did. They were down to a single strike. 2 outs, top of the 9th inning, and here comes BYU for a rally to take a 1-run lead. That game went to extras. So, and that hurt K-State. That dropped them 7 spots, almost to 50th in the RPI. And I was kind of basing things off of last year, even though I shouldn't have because it's a different season. But I think K-State was 50th in the RPI and did not get in, even though they deserved to get in. However, I did feel, after everything was kind of all said and done, Sunday wrapped up, the tournaments wrapped up, that I did like K-State's chances. I wasn't 100%, because then you saw bracketology starting to show K-State last 4 in. There were even some that said first 4 out. And I was like, I know they're not the experts, but I was like, God, you got to be kidding me. This can't be happening. This team built a much tougher schedule. I mean, look at it this way. Outside of those playing in the SEC and a few in the ACC, not many teams at all played a tough schedule like K-State did. K-State had 22 quad 1 games. KU, who I'm sure was a bit upset that they didn't get in, played 11. They had a much different strength of schedule than a lot of their, your peers in the Big 12.
But a big part of that is the non-conference slate for
Sure,
K-State
absolutely.
in comparison. And
That was the big focal point going in this
KU is
season.
a prime example of where I felt that the Big 12 was going to have trouble. I actually am surprised that the league got as many as 6 teams in. I felt that they were going to be lucky to get 4 because of how low caliber the conference was. And if you look at some of the prediction numbers that are out in terms of the likelihood of advancing out of regionals, that's reflected. As of right now, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma are really the only two that shake out as potential having chances. And even Oklahoma trails in its own regional at home to Duke's percentage of getting out of the regional just by going through simulations. Parker Fleming doing so, Stats-O-War on X, or Stat-O-War on X. I forget what the official handle is. But he did that figuring yesterday, and I saw those numbers, and I really wasn't surprised at that. I was more surprised about the fact that the tournament committee felt that there were 6 teams of caliber from the Big 12 that deserved to have berths. I really did feel that maybe only 4 would go. That K-State would be on the cusp as one of the 4 in either or out, the last 4 in or first 4 out. I really felt like it was going to be Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Texas, with West Virginia as another one that was an iffy.
Big 12 got 6. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas, who's also a 3 seed. K-State is a 3 seed. And the other 2 teams are UCF and West Virginia are the 6 teams that got in. I'm sure if you're TCU, you're pretty upset about not getting in. I think their RPI was like 39 or 40 or something like that.
Their road record hurt them dramatically.
Road record wasn't as good. Their just overall schedule, I thought their strength of schedule just wasn't good enough, although that's a pretty high RPI to not get in. Their overall resume was not good enough, and I started to think about that. I was like, K-State, that's exactly what got him in, because there's other parts of the resume. Their road record, conference record, being above 500. And there's a lot from last year that would say, well, actually, last year was a better resume for K-State than it was this year. No, the big difference here is their strength of schedule, the non-con strength of schedule. It was much better this year. Pete Hughes did exactly what he said they needed to do. They're going to have to just go on the road more. They're going to have to load up their midweeks with more road trips, tougher schedule overall. They had the toughest Big 12 schedule of them all. And even though this second half of the schedule, it's all about what you've done for me lately, and it doesn't feel like they're playing as a regional team. They built up a schedule. They won enough games that it all adds up to, K-State should be a regional team, and even the second half of the schedule has not been the most fun and full of the most wins. They still deserve to get in.
How important was that 10-game winning streak in March?
That, and I would also say limiting those quad 3, quad 4 losses.
Valid.
It didn't get out of hand. They didn't look, because I thought last year
they didn't have a St. Thomas.
Yeah, I thought last year they just had a couple too many bad losses.
Yeah.
BYU was a bad loss, but it wasn't as bad as losing to, was it St. Thomas last year that they lost to?
Yeah.
Pretty bad. You especially playing at home. You don't want to lose those kind of games. But I broke down the resume compared to last year. K-State had 4 or 5 series against teams that were in the 200s in their RPI, and K-State did not have anything close to that this year. So it was definitely K-State's built schedule. Coach Hughes was telling us after the press conference that, what he just had to do after last season was start canceling some games that they already had scheduled and start finding some opponents that could help bolster that RPI, and that's exactly what he had to do. Plus, I would say, I think what kind of takes away from the momentum is that just the preseason hype. And I would say certainly through the first half of the season, they were, even though lost a couple of games on those road trips, Tennessee and Clemson, those did not go well at all. they did get that win over Northeastern, but they were still winning some games and they had some momentum. The offense was really good. The pitching just needed more consistency. Well, the offense fell off. It was not consistent anymore, and they're not playing their best baseball heading into their regional. So, now it kind of comes down to, is there enough satisfactory that K-State just made it to a regional, or do you need to see more? Do you need to see a win, maybe two, be the in the last game and playing against Arkansas for a regional championship? Did you have something, AJ?
Nothing. Never mind. It wasn't that big of a deal. But I was just going to mention some of the opponents. I mean, when you play teams like Stonehill, you mentioned St. Thomas. I mean, that's never going to help you out in the end.
Well, I mean, and you're playing Omaha twice. And you lost at their place.
And they did not even make it into the field for their own conference tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least into the top 4 for their own conference tournament.
Yeah.
Summit League was a disaster this year, by the way, and I can say that given that my Bears wound up in the championship game opposite Oral Roberts after starting 0-21 on the year.
Yeah, that's not good.
16 wins and playing for the title.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
4 to me.
That is crazy.
So the regional in Fayetteville starts on Friday. K-State will have the second game, which is at 7 o'clock against Louisiana Tech. Later in the week, we'll start to look more into Louisiana Tech and then Arkansas and SEMO. Southeast Missouri will be the other opponent. That'll be the 4 seed. They'll have a 2 o'clock start on Friday, and we'll break down the bracket a little bit later on in the show. Plus, we'll hear from Pete Hughes about getting into the field, his thoughts heading into Selection Monday, if he was worried at all. Was he 100% that K-State would get in? We'll hear from Coach a little bit later on in the show. But when we come back, by the way, also in hour number 2, Stump the Shaw. We'll have some AJ versus Troy. Finally, AJ has an opponent to test his knowledge against.
Oh, I'm on the spot. Oh.
When we come back, Jabroni of the Week after these words.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! You jabronis hit the jackpot!
That Hollywood blonde jabroni, Hulk Hogan.
Ow! Is this jabroni's name?
Jabroni of the Week.
Well, here we go, boys and girls. It's time to crown a new Jabroni of the Week. Really worked hard on it this week. And we got to start off, again, 3 dishonorable mentions will culminate with my Jabroni of the Week. And it all starts with dishonorable mention number 1, and it has to do with the Cats getting into the NCAA tournament, because the phrase was thrown around a lot today at the press conference that we had at 3 o'clock at Toyton, that when your name came across the screen, ESPN, once again, this has happened too many times, and people need to be held accountable for these mistakes.
Oh, let me guess. Wrong logo?
Yeah, let's get the right graphic people in there that may know the differences between a Jayhawk and a Power Cat, because when K-State was shown in the Shamrock Zone on TV, them clapping and celebrating that they got into the field, while everybody's clapping, everybody's having a good time, Jayhawk, Kansas Jayhawks. Oh. This happens, honestly, this happens way too often. It really does. From that to, they just show the standings on TV, like a basketball standings or something, and you see the Jayhawk in the wrong spot. I've seen the Power Cat in the wrong spot. But it's more often than not, them showing a K-State of some sort, and it's a Jayhawk next to it or something.
This is in large part why the references are K-State so much more than Kansas State in terms of the athletic department's marketing.
Is that the reason?
It's part of the reason, because it helps as a better identifier and get you away from the use of Kansas.
Yep. Marketing 101, gentlemen.
Shout out to marketing majors.
But it's frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. There's no excuse for it.
Mm-hmm. All right, my next dishonorable mention goes out to the poor Dodger fan. I'd assume is a Dodger fan. Parking lot. This was last week.
Oh, this was great.
And their car just caught on fire. I've seen this happen before, where it's, you're driving side of the road and all of a sudden somebody's car is in flames.
Right.
It does happen. I don't know how it happens, but it
usually
happens.
Usually a Tesla.
Yep.
I've never. Are you joking, or is that serious?
No, the Teslas have had a affinity of the batteries are an issue.
Yep.
Okay.
God. Here we go.
Yes, yes, your standard vehicle can also, yes.
The electric car, I mean, it sounds like a great idea to me. I just don't like the part where it doesn't seem like a great road trip vehicle.
No, it's not.
Yeah. I need to talk with my guy a little more. He owns a couple Series S's, and I tease him constantly about who's in charge of that company, but that's another matter.
But where there's ribbing that is involved with this. Now, as far as I know, the fan was okay, got out of the car, just, doesn't have a vehicle right now, maybe. I don't know, depending on their insurance, if they have it. But car caught on fire, and this is right before the PA announcer comes on to announce the starting lineups at the Dodger game, whoever they're playing. And the Oregon player, Dieter Rudel or whatever his name is, also is a musician, plays the organ for the Los Angeles Kings, apparently is a legend in L.A., and starts playing a little Billy Joel.
It was
We didn't start the fire.
So great. So great. Nailed it. It was beautiful.
But it got me thinking. I was like, the camera way up high was able to see in the parking lot. Were many people in the know about what exactly that was? That was in reference to.
You could see the smoke. If you were seated in the main bowl of the stadium, you could see the smoke.
You could see the smoke, but that could be anything if you can't see what's going on in the parking lot. Word had to get around, I'm sure, at some point. Or maybe they showed it on the Jumbotron. I don't know. Maybe they didn't show it on Jumbotron because somebody's having a bad day.
Maybe they announced on the PA, if you are the owner of license plate California XYA,
it's melted. And first of all, why'd you park in the middle of the lane?
Your car is on fire.
I've never had to make an announcement like that, or say, "Hey, you're illegally parked," or had to say somebody's license plate number. That's not happened.
One of the favorite gigs that gimmicks that has been done, I know, for both minor league baseball, we did it in indoor football. If you're the owner of, and they give out the license plate number, please see media or please see marketing, please see blah blah blah. Then a little later, they will identify it as having been the dirtiest car in the parking lot, and it's a car wash giveaway.
I mean, literally, you hear that all the time at high school games. The guy with the white car, you're illegally parked. Please get out there immediately.
That's true.
You get that all the time at high school games.
But hey, at least they give you the shout out. They say they give you. I remember I was setting up for Power Kagende when we were like, this was 12 years ago, where we could still do the show in front of the stadium. They're on the west side. And I get a call. I didn't know, like, when you park west of the stadium in those side streets that you can only park on one side of the road, didn't read the signs. And the RCPD called and said, hey, we'll give you an opportunity to come move your car. If you don't, we're going to tow it in about 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, I appreciate the heads up. I'll just take the $10 ticket and be on my way and park on the other side of the road. My last dishonorable mention, we're going to go to England for this one. And to Pro Darts, when it is the Premier League finals in Pro Darts in England, you get some of the best atmospheres in indoor sports. Well, the Premier League final was just recently, and it came down to the final matchup, and there is a 17-year-old prodigy named Luke Littler, I think is how you say his last name. He is just a dominant force in darts. Final round, he throws a perfect game, which is a 9-dart perfect game in 5:01. After he beat his opponent to win the Premier League, his opponent then speaks to the media, who had been in Pro Darts for a while, and said, all the credit to my opponent, but, there was a breeze, and it just threw me off, and I didn't have a good game because there was a little bit of wind inside the arena.
Oh.
Come on,
Blaming
man.
it on an inside arena, the draft threw off his game.
Come on, man.
For crying out
loud.
loud.
What a jabroni.
I feel like you're mocking me a little, AJ.
I'm not.
That was a real mocking tone that I was getting from AJ. All right, well, but let's get to Jabroni of the Week. And it takes us to college golf. The best golfer in college, in the NCAA, did not win the NCAA individual championship. And I'm talking about Auburn golfer Jackson Coyven. So he started his round on the back nine, and then he finished on the front. Hole 9, he's one stroke back on a par 4. His second shot, hits it in the air, and it hits the flagpole. It hits the flagpole so hard. Like, if that flagpole wasn't in there, he may have dunked it. It was such a good shot. But he hit it off the flagpole, and it ricocheted so hard, it rolled about 30, 40 feet away, and it right into a bunker. Oh. On the final hole. So he chips out of the hole, gets on the green, and he's able to putt, and he gets par. But he lost
by one stroke.
If he would have landed maybe a little bit closer to him and let it roll a little bit, not hit the flagpole. He most likely gets he gets it to a playoff.
Horrible.
Because his shot was too good.
That's painful.
It cost him the national championship.
That is painful.
I got to say, Mitch, and I'm not being sarcastic, that was a good list this week, man. Good list.
Thank you.
It just happened that on our tour of places, we came across a place that had a mental health hospital located across from the golf course. I immediately noted that that's perfect.
Yep.
Do you golf?
After how many matches? Oh, I don't anymore.
So, wait, you used to golf?
I used to occasionally golf, yes.
What?
But because I've gotten involved in mornings, a long time ago, I gave up playing, yeah.
Okay, well, I was about to, did K-Man change your life to where you don't golf anymore?
No.
I kind of want to know about more of this golfing Tampa Troy.
No, you don't want to know anything about me golfing.
What was your handicap?
Me?
Fair enough.
I got a funny story about my great-grandfather. I have to tell sometime about his golfing experience.
Yeah, my handicap lays between my ears. Thank you very much. Yes.
I was going to say, I was such a bad golfer.
Awful. Yeah.
You say you used to go occasionally.
Yes.
I once went twice in a matter of 2 weeks after my senior year of high school. That's as occasional I got with my golf game.
Yeah, I was not on a regular appointment with the golf course. No.
As I famously told in this show many times, my first hole I ever played, I birdied on a par 4. After that, it was Shankville.
The only birdie I have in my career, the golf course doesn't exist anymore. Apartments now are on that course. Denver.
So you did birdie one time.
I did birdie one time.
But you've also golfed more than twice.
Yes.
Take a guess. How many times back in the day would you golf in a year?
Well, maybe tops 4 or 5. Definitely not a regular thing for me. Usually tied into such events like Chamber of Commerce, a booster club event.
I was about to ask, would you golf hey, maybe take a client out, let them kick your tail in a little bit, and then, hey, go sell $10,000 worth of commercials.
I didn't need to sandbag. I was that bad.
My great-grandfather went golfing one time, and he shot and this is a famous story in our family. He shot the ball in the water 3 times. He quit, and 10 years later, he built a house right across from that golf course. Why? I have no idea.
This was AJ just wanting to flex on how much money his family has.
Yeah, I was going to say, the reasoning for building on that golf course...
Right across from it.
After having that frustration, why?
Because he was that kind of guy.
Sounds like somebody has some anger issues. I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Wanted to be angry every day. Look out on that par 4-8 that got him every time.
Right?
All right, we're going to end it for hour number 1. When we come back, hour number 2, we're going to hear from Pete Hughes on the Cats making the NCAA tournament. Was he feeling certain that the Cats would get in on Selection Monday? And we'll also play Stump the Shaw, AJ versus Troy, round 1 of potentially many. Hour 2 of the game and your local news coming up next.